Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rock Interview is so thrilled to bring you an incredible harmonica player, a founding member of the band War. He's got his own company for harmonicas and everything else, platinum albums, gold albums. Oh, and he started a new record label. It is Lee Oskar. Thank you for coming on the show, Lee.
Thanks, Eric. Hey, man. Thanks for having me, man. You know, I'll take any hype I can get.
Well, you know what? I don't think, you know, you have so many great things to talk about. It's easy. It's not hype. It's just the truth when we talk about you with all your great accomplishments.
Thank you. It's my sense of humor because I call anything hype if you gotta talk about it, and we all gotta talk about things. It's amazing if stuff just exists, it's not good enough. There's the marketing side of things that you always have to tell the right story so people can connect with for the right reasons, and then they end up being a happy consumer.
Well, I think you've created a lot of those over the years through your company and your music, and I want to talk about this new Dreams We Share. And I know you've got a lot of albums in the hopper already to come out this year, and you guys are planning on virtual concerts. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, you know, especially today, but it's always been a quest, you know, to have as much as I possibly can have going on for my music, you know. I mean, to me, it's not just a hobby, you know. I mean, from the get-go, it's a hobby. From the get-go, it's most important as an artist. It's my arts, and but still, you have to find homes for it, you know. But the first love is never anything but just the arts, meaning that I don't say, okay, I got a deal now for this, so I'm going to do this. Doesn't work like that for me. I don't care if this deal or not. If I'm a sculptor, I'm going to do a sculptures, and I'm going to do. I mean, I have an obsession for my art, so I'm going to do it regardless if somebody's standing in line waiting for paying me for a project or not. It's not. It's about my arts. So to find a home for all that music that I've been that I have in a can and stuff that I love producing. By the way, I love producing as much as composing and playing. Sometimes even more, because at the end of the day, I love to see things happen, magic, and it doesn't matter if it's me playing or somebody else. It's about the end result. I love that.
Well, and I want to bring this up too, Lee, to where you've been such an innovator in everything you've done, including your harmonica style, to where you really took a very different approach playing than a lot of harmonica musicians did, to where you were emulating more horn sections. And so, you know, and you started playing at what, only 6 years old, you know, and then moving to, you know, the United States, moving to New York at 18 to pursue a career in this with only your harmonicas. Right.
Well, a couple of things. When I was 6 years old, I wouldn't say I mastered. I was the harmonica was playing me. That's the beautiful thing about harmonica. It was playing me, and it made me feel like I'm really musically. I have hope, you know, for music, because I love and hear music, and I would have been considered musically hopeless if it wasn't for the harmonica, because I hear, and in my head I'm composing right now, everything. But to translate it physically through an instrument is too challenging for me. Some people are very good physically. I can't. The harmonica was my window. And if it wasn't for the harmonica, that narrow margin, all that stuff that you've heard in my music and what goes on in my head may never been heard.
But, you know, you really carved such a unique path with that. Like even back when you met Eric Burden in L.A., and people were surprised that, you know, once again, in your compositions, you were able to make the harmonica stand out as much as a horn section and as a melody instrument.
But want to clarify one thing based on a very kind introduction you did there, is that I don't choose to play that way. That's one thing, you know. I could brag, yeah, I choose that. I'm that much control. That's like saying I choose to have this voice that I have here. Mm-hmm. I could be talking like this, like no, that would be like, you know, that's not natural to me. So I react to things and then I take it to heart. To be honest, I don't give a composition a title before I've created it. Most people think, oh, you come up with the title and the concept and you compose it. BS. Most people don't do that. Most of us, we create, we paint an impulse. Things come out, it comes through us, whether it's painting or music. And if you're in that real zone, in the real moment, in real time, it's reflexes. Just like I'm talking to you right now. I didn't practice what I just said to you. I could never repeat the same way twice anyhow, the exact same way. So I go by, not by man's worst disease is thinking. I don't go by that. I take the logic and put it in the back of my brain, I guess, and I respond with the emotions. And those emotions that I'm feeling from the sounds that come out of the harmonica, and that is what becomes that circle thing that we. So my mind is always composing without it being for a specific purpose. I'm just living that in music. And I think music as a form of art is as powerful as it is. I think it's truly only powerful when you can hear music that is coming from the heart or soul. And I think that is the magic when that's included, so it doesn't feel like a monologue.
Right.
I hate when music sounds so perfect that it doesn't. There's no naiveness in it. There's no there's no uncertainties. And what makes magic to me is that the tension of going somewhere and not knowing where you're going to end up. It's like I'm talking to you right now. We don't know. We're expressing. So to me, Dreams We Share is a perfect title because it's sharing with other musicians, giving them a platform where I bring in different people that are up here that I have as my Lee Oskar friends. Mm-hmm. And then I also like Never Forget album. It's called Never Forget. I'm just finishing up mixing. And it's going to be a series of albums. It's the first one of that is it's a series called Passages Through Music.
Wow.
So these albums, starting with Never Forget, is about my background or about humanity. And it's about my mom and my family and that. But I wanted to represent humanity, people that had family in Vietnam War, for example, and they got liberated. They made it without any death, or even if there was death. The family, everybody's affected by it. Even once you're liberated from the war, it still carries over in generations. Mm-hmm. And yet anybody else who weren't affected by it don't even know about Vietnam War. It's like it's something past. Kids don't know about it. So there's a lot of horrific things that constantly repeats itself under different names and that. And if you want peace in this world, maybe music can be one of the saviors, Playing for Change, who we are partners with. They advocate. I mean, that's all it's about is the music, the arts, bringing people together from all over the world. And
you have really been an ambassador for the harmonica, and to be able to start your own company in 1983. And what was so revolutionary about what you did with your Lee Oskar company is that before, as you and I know, you would just buy a harmonica, and after it would wear out, you threw it away. You came up with the concept of providing replacement parts, right, so that when your reeds wore out or something wore out on your harmonica, you take it apart, you fix it, and you're good to go again.
Yeah, I mean, why throw the whole thing? It's just like guitar strings, half, and half of the cost is the reed plates. That's the most expensive parts, and you shouldn't have to. You can tune the harmonicas, and once they're totally fatigued, then you swap out new reed plates. That's all for half the price. But for me, I don't start something unless it's like almost like it's something necessary in what I do. And for that reason, the harmonica company, I didn't excited about, I'm starting a harmonica company. I was excited about starting it because collaboration with a Japanese factory, Tombo, that I partnered up with and got machines set up, and we start manufacturing the Lee Oskar Harmonicas, which is a collaboration between my ideas and their expertise in manufacturing. Manufacturing is a whole different animal than a hobby. So, and they've been now it's going on 104 years they've been manufacturing.
Wow.
And
your company started in 1983.
Well, yeah, it started, and it actually was a few years prior to that I was preparing in that before. So, it doesn't just, I want to do it and it gets done. But if I may put some attention on this music, Never Forget album, in the middle of the mixing, I wanted an oud, the oud, which is a really deep, soulful sound.
Amazing.
Somebody plays that. And so I reached out to some friends in Israel who are musicians and all know the best of the best. And I got my dear friend Michael Adler. She got me at the studio there, great engineer there too, studio. And I overdubbed just 2 weeks ago. I overdubbed an oud, a spiritual singer, and clarinet, and also put Michael. She plays harmonica too at the end. And it's the last piece on the album. It's called World for Peace. And that's what it's about. So that album I'm really excited about, but it's not a typical album that you can just get radio playing at, because it's really symphonic, orchestrated stuff. This album, it's got strings, and I mean, it's a labor of love that it's been kind of coming together for a few years now. So that'll be the first one in a series of albums coming out of that's called music, passages through music.
Is that going to be coming out soon?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have it this first quarter, the end of this first quarter. I'm hoping to get it released. I'm working on a distribution deal for my record label.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle of negotiations with some companies there. But that album will be served as an album that just people, especially if they connect to it and if they get the album or the music and they sit back, the wife or just together and just soak it in. It's like 9 tracks. It'll tear your heart out. I mean, it'll touch you in different ways. It's not party music, but it'll touch you in wonderful ways. It's so that album's got to be marketed to many different places where they're concerned about humanity and about social things and, all the things that we strive to come to terms, because the world has gotten so small with the technology that we have to do everything in real time, all at the same time, because I don't care if you're here, you're in China or where you are. It's not like Timbuktu. It's not a mystery anymore. The world has gotten really small. So we got to figure out the differences between everybody and tolerate each other's unique things, and may there be peace. But anyway, this album's called Never Forget. And then after that, there's in the can, the next album that I got to finish up is Lee Oskar and Friends, which is another series of albums. And it's got reggae. It's got a lot of different stuff on it that I'm very excited about. And so I'm experimenting, and I'm constantly, I just love the fact that I have a studio, I have the label, and I have a team of people, and we can get to work and just explore and come up with just great music.
I want to make sure now with the Dreams We Share, can our viewers go to your website and your social media to stay up with everything?
Thank you for asking. Yes, just go to dreamsweshare.com.
And then for all of the great releases of the harmonicas and everything you're coming out with, they just need to go to Lee Oskar Harmonicas?
Just leeoskar.com.
There you go. How easy is that? I'll tell you what, Lee, it's such a treasure.
Make sure Oscar's with a K.
Exactly. Lee Oskar. It is so great having you on the Rockin' Review. Thank you for taking the time. Congrats on your new record label, Dreams We Share. And I can't wait to see these new harmonicas with people playing them out in public. Thanks for coming on the show.
I'll send you one.
Sounds great, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.